Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled mayor and council meeting for the town of Berlin for Monday, February 14th, 2022. Please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we'll get our little COVID message so that everybody knows where the bathroom and hand sanitizers are from our town administrator.
In the rear of the room, Mr. Bakke, raise your hand. There's a table to his right. There's a canister of hand sanitizer and face coverings. Should anyone need one, across the hall is a hand washing station in the restroom, and there is a water dispenser out here in the hallway as well.
Thank you. Item number 1 on our agenda this evening, 1A, is the approval of the closed session minutes from January 24th, 2022.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Councilmember Orris.
Second.
I have a second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And let the record reflect that the closed session minutes for January 24th, 2022 passed unanimously with Councilmember Purnell absent. Statement of... 1 second.
Madam Mayor.
And just getting back in the groove of being up here after our COVID meeting. All right, so item number 1B is the statement of closure for the January 24th, 2022 meeting. The time of the closed session was January 24th, 2022 at 5:45 p.m. The place of the closed session, the vote was held on Zoom with a public statement, and then after the vote, we went privately on Zoom. The purpose of the closed session was to discuss the opioid class action litigation, and the date and time for returning back to the public meeting was January 24th, 2022 at 6 p.m. The motion to go into closed session was made by Councilmember Burrell. The second was made by Councilmember Purnell. The members voting in favor were Councilmembers Nur, Nichols, and Orris, so all council members were present. The statutory reason for closing the meeting was under the General Provisions Article 3-305B, item number 7, to consult with counsel and to obtain legal advice on a legal matter. The only topic that was discussed was the opioid class action litigation. Item number 1C is the approval of the regular session minutes for January 24th, 2022.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilmember Nur.
Second.
And I have a second by Councilmember Orris. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect that the regular session minutes for January 24th, 2022 passed unanimously. Item number 2 is going to be the swearing in of Taylor Bakke for the Housing Board of Review. So Taylor, if you can come up with me. And we'll stand right here so that everybody at home watching can see us. Come on over here to this side if you don't mind. And then raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, say your name,
Taylor Bakke,
do swear and affirm
do swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and that I will be faithful
and that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of
execute the office of
the Town of Berlin Housing Board of Review.
the Town of Berlin Housing Board of Review,
It's a mouthful. According to the Constitution and laws of the state.
according to the Constitution and the laws of the state.
Congratulations. Now we have to sign this document for Kelsey. Go ahead. Thank you, Kelsey.
Yep.
And congratulations, Taylor. We don't have a large audience, but we can give you a little round of applause.
Happy to volunteer.
And for everybody else that may not know this, Taylor and I graduated together. So
Yes, we
it's
did.
good to have
That's
a
awesome.
class of '08 Stephen Decatur High School. Speaking of that, I don't know if anybody saw, but Stephen Decatur High School wrestling team did win state. So that's a huge accomplishment.
Is this like their second or third time?
I think it's their third, yeah.
Those guys rock.
They are. All right, so let's move on to, I guess I could have stayed down there. Item number 3 is the introduction of Samantha Stelzer. She's the Salisbury University's communication intern and working in the mayor's office. And come on up, Samantha, and we'll just tell everybody, we'll stand in the frame so that everybody can meet you. So this is Samantha Stelzer, and she joins us from Salisbury University, double major, also in the Honors College, and will be working in the mayor's office to help with building out the website for the past mayors and some of the history. So they've always been on the wall here in the hallway leading to the council chambers, but I don't know if anybody at home or anybody here has noticed, we added those to the website, but there's just a circle where the face would go and no build out of who served or what led them to office. So I think in some ways you get to understand the history of Berlin by kind of seeing where the mayors have gone over time. Samantha's also going to help us explore the history of the War Memorial on North Main, at Baker Street and West Street, and also the War of 1812 Memorial that we have at Stephen Decatur Park. So anything you want to say about yourself that I've maybe missed?
I think you got it all. I'm just excited to be here.
Well, congratulations. And you'll see a lot of Samantha. She's going to be working with interviewing some of the past mayors that are still alive. So Mr. Ron Byerly, Mr. G. Williams, Carol Rose is offered to help with some of the background history. Miss Paula Lynch, who many of you know. She's not been in here for a little while, but she's a former council member. Councilmember Burrell can speak to her tenure. Who else is on the list? I feel like I'm missing a couple.
Well, we'll check out the Calvin B. Taylor House
Oh,
on
yeah.
Wednesday, so we will go from there.
And then also the historical room at the Worcester County Library Berlin branch, and Ivy Wells has been helping with some of the historical documents over at the Visitor Center. So I think just making Samantha feel at home, and she's been very proactive in her research, and some of the things that you found are very interesting. I can't wait to read the whole document.
Samantha, tell them where they can find you now, where they can find additional Samantha Stelzer work, pieces of work.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Pieces of work. Let's see. On Salisbury's website, you can check out. I published one of my papers on the Lowell economic independence.
In Berlin.
Oh, in Berlin. Oh, we can check it out in Berlin at the Calvin B. Taylor House. One of my internships was interviewing former members of Black and African American community members of Worcester County on their integration in Worcester County schools.
So, all right, well, stop into the Calvin B. Taylor House, and if you see Samantha out and about through town, help her out. And we're so happy to have you. Thank you. All right. Let's see. So item number 4 is going to be appointments to the boards, commissions, and committees. Let me put my piece of paper here. There we are. All right. So up first are the Housing Board of Review to join Taylor and who else is on there? Ms. Moore. We would like to appoint Jonathan Hill. He's a new appointment, and it'll be for a 3-year term. Mr. Hill has a firm understanding of the town code and the roles and responsibilities of the Housing Board of Review. Do I have any questions by the council? Do I have a motion to approve by the council?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Burrell and a second by Councilmember Nur. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And Mr. Jonathan Hill passes unanimously. Up next is 3 appointments for the Tattoo Advisory Committee, and this is for a 2-year term. My colleague Councilmember Burrell used to serve on there as well. This group would consist of Matt Amy as a reappointment. Matt Amy is a world-renowned tattoo artist and has previously served as chairman of the committee. Ms. Patricia Dufendock, who's also a reappointment, previously served on the committee, and Ms. Natalie DeHart, which would be a new appointment, is a Berlin resident and has a passion for the industry. I am looking for approval of all three this evening.
I make a motion, do you want to do them all together?
Yeah, we can
Okay.
do them as a group unless there's an objection.
So I'll make a motion that we approve Matthew Amy, Patricia Dufendock, and Natalie DeHart for their appointments to the Tattoo Advisory Committee for a 2-year term.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilmember Orris,
Second.
a second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And let the record reflect that Matt Amy, Patricia Dufendock, and Natalie DeHart have been approved unanimously for the Tattoo Advisory Committee. Thank you. Up next is item number 5 on our agenda, Resolution 2022-02, which is the adoption of the Enterprise Fund Reserve Policy. And yes, our Finance Director, Natalie Slay, is going to be running point on this. Thank you.
So we have introduced the Enterprise Funds Reserve Policy in the previous meeting. It is a second hearing, so I'm seeking adoption of the policy to establish capital, debt, and stabilization reserves for the enterprise funds. Electric will be discussed in the later days because we need to have an approval from Public Service Commission, but establishing policy for all of the funds will help us in the future to assure that we have enough funds for capital projects, for shortage of the revenues, and for some non-predictable breakage or repairs.
Thank you. And this is one of the best practices that was identified during the CERCAP study as well, to have a framework for a capital reserve, a debt service reserve for the funds, water, sewer, stormwater, and like you mentioned, we'd like to pursue electric, but that's going to take a little work through the Public Service Commission.
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have public hearing?
No,
I didn't think so. You were just looking at me and I was second guessing myself.
You're my boss.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the attention. Any questions from the council this evening?
Science fiction.
Well, if you get direct deposit, you don't get the signature on it. But if you do get the check, you get myself and our town administrator's fine signatures, which is always fun to try and get that into the system. But if there are no objections, we are looking for approval this evening from the council. And this just establishes the policy, no rates associated with it.
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2022-02, adoption of the Enterprise Reserve Policy.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilmember Orris to approve Resolution 2022-02.
Second.
I have a second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And let the record reflect that the Resolution 2022-02, adoption of the Enterprise Fund Reserve Policy, passed unanimously. Up next on our agenda is item number 6, the Town Administrator's Report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to, first of all, this morning, we had some confusion, and I want to take full blame for it.
We caught it before it was an issue.
Well, it's still, I don't like stuff what happened this morning. I totally don't. The RFP for Heron Park, we had one document up on the website that Tuesday, February 14th. Well, today's February 14th, tomorrow's Tuesday. So, long story short, tomorrow at 10 a.m. we will have the bid openings for the RFP for Heron Park. So there's more to follow. So following the bid openings, we will grade those. Then we will schedule, I believe, Mayor, for the 28th, an executive session for you guys to preview that and to offer your input as well.
Right, so the, just if I may, during the open part of the bid opening, as the RFP states, it will just be the name of who submitted a proposal, and that'll be read into the record. It'll be done on Facebook Live. The actual grading will take place by the town staff. They'll be ranked according to parcel, and then that information would fall under an executive session meeting to review those. And am I correct, Gaspar?
Yeah.
Okay. So that would fall under an executive session. Once they're graded, we're going to get the material to everybody because we do want to a quicker turnaround time associated with the strategic demo grant, if that's something that needs to be pursued. I think we all want to see that building go. So in an effort for everybody to do their due diligence on the proposals that have been submitted, they will be sent confidentially to the council for consideration for the 28th executive session. The actual awarding of a proposal would take place in public session. Correct?
And those documents would then be public,
Correct. Available for public consumption.
all of them.
Correct. The grading, the proposals,
Yes.
everything. So, any questions on that process?
This process is not gonna happen all in the one, this isn't a one day, this isn't an executive, and then by the end of the executive, we will make a decision, is it? Or is it?
That's why we want to get the information to everybody as quickly as possible, so you
Okay.
have time to digest that
Got it.
information.
So we're trying to move that way.
We would like to move that quick,
So next meeting.
hypothetically, yes.
In-
Unless I've not seen what's in the proposals, so they're all sealed. So if there's something that requires longer diligence on our behalf, then we'll have to do that. But the objective is to
or should-
review those
Next meeting.
and hopefully have something to look at for the following meeting.
On the 16th, Wednesday, Darrell Kolar from EA, Jamie, Steve Farr from Maryland Coastal Bays, and I are going to meet in the afternoon to talk about specifically the Graham Avenue submerged gravel wetland, and we're trying to explore opportunities, if you will, for stormwater grants. A little bit more detail, I'm trying to enlist the help of Steve Farr. The 17th and 18th of February, this Thursday and Friday, the hours of 3:30 until 5 p.m. The schedule has been released, but the mayor, the finance director, and myself, all general fund department heads will meet in the conference room to talk about FY23 budget. I believe, I'm not positive, I know everybody has been invited, we can allow up to 2 council members. I believe we've got 1 or 2 of you that have committed to one day or the other.
We do have some attending.
Okay. So I just want to make that clear. And that's pretty much what I have, folks.
Any questions for the town administrator? All right, departmental reports, and we'll take them round robin. Ivy, Economic Community Development, would you like to start?
Sure. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Nice to see everybody tonight. Just a few things. Just wanted to let you know that according to my weekly report, we have completed our B City redesignation, so that has been submitted. We started a Pose Like George, hashtag Pose Like George photo contest for the kids. We received about 200 make your own George Washington hats with the wig, with the white curls at the bottom. So kids could pick those up for free at the Berlin Welcome Center and take a picture, any kind of presidential George Washington pose, submit it for a chance to win one of 2 $20 gift certificates from World of Toys. World of Toys is also sponsoring this along with Berlin Main Street. Right now, usually this time of the year, my department is working towards the spring grant season. So what we do right now is we gather all the information we need so we can be ready to apply for grants in the spring, particularly the Community Legacy Grant, which we usually apply for additional facade grant funding. But since we've already received $50,000 of that last year and we still have funding left in that account, after talking with Mr. Fleetwood, we have decided to move forward with applying for streetscape project for Commerce and Pitt Street, meaning, and this is all above ground, not infrastructure, that's a community development block grant. So this would include historic lampposts, sidewalk improvements, landscaping, and some other details that we're still in discussion about. So that's one of the things that we're looking forward to. And then the second is for another Main Street improvement grant. We're discussing what we could do for that. Obviously, it would be for attendance at the Main Street Conference and for any kind of improvements that we need for the downtown district. It is strictly for just the downtown Main Street designated district. So as much as we would like to apply for other areas, it is only for that downtown. But with that said, also working on the operating grant for the Arts Entertainment District, which does extend from the downtown, and it also includes a majority of Flower Street. So we are including some grant opportunities or some grant funding for improvements to the Arts Entertainment District that encompasses that area. So pretty busy in my department right now. May not seem like it, but we're pretty busy. And that's all for my report tonight.
Can you also share about the artist income tax credit that you posted?
Oh, sure. So what a lot of artists don't realize, specifically artists that live and sell their work or perform in an entertainment district, which Berlin is, and there's several of them across the state of Maryland. So if you're an artist, let's say Patrick Henry. Patrick Henry is an artist. He lives in, well, I'm not sure if he lives here, but his studio is here. And anything that he sells out of his art shop, he does not have to pay income tax on that. There's a special form that I shared. It's called a 502AE form. You can find that form on the comptroller's office or on the comptroller's page, or you can just send me an email and I'll forward you that information. It's a fillable PDF online, and artists can use that form and attach it with their state income tax form. And for musicians and performers, they can also use that same form. The artists that play at the Globe or for the Berlin Farmers Market or any of the town events, any money that they are paid, they do not have to pay income tax on that, state income tax. And for anyone who wants information on that's listening, just contact me, iwells@berlinmd.gov, or give me a call at 410-629-1722.
Thank you. While you're talking about Pat, I think he's got an art exhibit on
At Salisbury as a War
at the War
Museum.
Museum, and he is a Berlin resident.
Yeah, it is a great exhibit.
Any questions for Economic and Community Development Director Ivy Wells? All right. Up next is our Planning and Zoning Director, Dave Engelhardt.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Keeping with Ivy's theme about grants, just past week or so, the town administrator, Jeff Fleetwood, Ivy, and I, and the mayor have embarked on trying to secure bikeways grant construction funding again this year. In this year's grant cycle, we will be applying. We're doing a letter of intent as we speak. The application window is the month of May 22, so coming up pretty quick on us. So this will springboard off the previous grant we had, where we had the design completed back in, that was a 2017 fiscal year grant. And now we're going to try again to secure construction funds to build the bikeway. Primarily the center section, which would run from Heron Park, and that section would end at Broad Street before it goes south, and other section would be south of there from Broad Street to the county line at Evans Road, Buckingham Lane. That would probably be a later phase that we might apply for construction grants. Projects in town are all moving towards completion. The Flower Street apartments and the new building next to the park, they are nearing completion. The Homes for America is now working on the project to just remodel the apartments out on Bay Street, and the Willows complex at the end of Maple Avenue. Again, we just finalized the community building, and some of the other apartments are moving towards final. So we should, as the weather's turning nicer, we should see some of these apartments getting filled up with tenants. So been a long road for all of them. They're all going on at once. Also with the Oceans East project, they're moving along with some of their buildings. Looks like we may see 2 more buildings out there in fiscal year 23. Probably not before that. 48 more apartments, so they're continuing to grow out there also. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions for our planning and zoning director, Dave Engelhardt?
Dave, would it be safe to say that the apartments on Flower Street will be completed by summer, by the beginning of summer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and Jeff and I had a phone conversation with the young lady who does, like the management of the project. We're working on the sidewalk there now that runs in front of the park, in front of Henry Park 2 there. We're trying to get them to replace the sidewalk, to refinish it, which should have been on, as part of the project to begin with. And that's why you still see the fence up there around the submerged gravel wetland that's in front. So we're looking for some curbing and the sidewalk there. We've had several meetings with them, and they are, at this point, getting final estimates for the work before they get back to us. So I believe we're supposed to hear something Friday, this coming Friday, if not early next week from them. So, yeah, they're moving towards it pretty quick, yeah. And I know from the MD, we use Middle Department Inspection Agency, both at the Willows and those units, they have praised their quality and how nice they are. And I can only say Jeff Leewood had been in there with one of the townspeople recently, and he said, yeah, they're quite nice units. So I think all along we've been improving our housing stock for everybody in Berlin, and I think that's so important. I think we're going to see some more. Somebody came in for an application to do some more work out of Quail Run and Quail Run 2. So you're going to see those finally catch up to all the other apartment complexes that already have had their refurbishing, their rehab in the last 5 or 6 years. We've been quite busy with all of those. So I think that's a great thing, that we have good housing for everybody in town. And in our budget session earlier, workshop, we talked about the assessments for homes going, like through the roof. Well, now we have apartment units that are also high quality. So I think that's important for people to remember.
Thank you.
Dave, just one question. The Oceans East, you said 48 more apartments. Is that their final phase?
No, that would be the start of phase 3. They're in phase 2 now.
And there's 4 total, right?
I thought we just,
Yeah.
what they're doing is phase 3.
Yeah, that would be, because basically I was talking to them to help me with forecasts for revenue for this year, the budget we're going to go into after July 1. So I kind of quizzed them on what might be coming after July 1 in this coming fiscal year. And they thought maybe 48 more apartments, 2 buildings. That was the thought, so.
Thank you.
There's more to come than that.
Can you give everybody an update as well, if you have one for AutoZone?
I have a quick question about that sidewalk you were talking about just now. There's a part from Dollar General that leads, I think you and I have talked about that before, that Dollar General.
That's going to be addressed by State Highway when this goes 376, 130.
Okay,
We got
that's just a source, that's a contentious spot for me, so I always bring that up.
We got
That
those.
That was one of the items that we discussed with the transfer to the state.
Yeah, we took care of that.
Any update on AutoZone?
No, I don't, did you have any more
The
from that?
water and sewer is in, but I have not heard, they've not done any testing or...
No. No, and I have not heard, and normally Mr. Hubbard, who's been running the job for the contractor, he stays in touch with me, so I can reach out to him, see where they are. But it had been on delay for so long because of material. They couldn't get what they needed to put the water and sewer and connect it, so I'll talk to him and I can let you know.
I do want to circle back to the Bikeways grant for a moment, Dave.
Yeah.
Just for everybody watching at home, we have called this project the Rails to Trails project, just so that everybody knows what we're talking about. I also want to thank the Worcester County Commissioners who, for the grant, it requires a 25% match. We requested last year that half of that 25% match be contributed by the Worcester County Commissioners in their FY budget, and they graciously awarded us that half that we needed for the 25% contribution, so we are grateful to them for that support. Thank you. Up next is our Electric Utility Director, Tim Warren.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have a few things to report on. Jamie can explain more than I can about the pump house on Branch Street. We had to go in there and trim a tree for the well drilling machine to get in there, which we took care of that. Over here at the corner of Pitt Street, the building that's being renovated, they're going from an overhead service to an underground service. So we actually installed a commercial underground service. So it'll go down the pole under the sidewalk and up into the meter base, and the overhead service will come off the front of the building, which will look a lot better. And then Willows at Berlin, we had a underground primary cable that faulted over there. It's a new cable. And what we found out is one of the contractors actually damaged the cable. So we had to go in there and repair it. There will be some billing involved in that for the repairs to it. Then also at the power plant, MDE, Maryland Department of Environment, they require that we stack test our diesel engines every 3 years for emissions certification, which we did that on February 8th, and both the diesel engines passed with no issues, which was a good thing. And then also over here at Food Line Shopping Center Saturday, we had a outage over there from 10 o'clock in the morning until 12:30, which was 2.5 hours. That was an underground issue that feeds behind the back of the shopping center, which we're working on repairing that now, but we were able to backfeed all customers within 2.5 hours, and we had everybody back on. And then also, one of our employees, Dave Davis, he's our meter technician. He is in meter school, which is a 4-year program. It's 8 steps. He actually has completed steps 1, 2, and half of 3. So he's got a little more to go, and then he'll be completed in it. That's a lot of hard work for him. It's a lot of technical information that he has to take in. There's a lot of equipment that's involved in testing the meters and certifying them for revenue and that type of thing. That's my report.
Thank you. And that's also part of our obligation under the Public Service Commission, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you. And congratulations to Dave.
For Tim, in terms of undergrounding the utilities for Pitt Street, will you have to install any kind of utility box on the sidewalk?
No.
You don't?
No. The meter base is actually on the front of the building.
Okay.
If you look at it right now, it's on the front kind of center of the building with the overhead service. That will come off of there, and then on the right-hand side of the doorway is the new meter base, which is fed underground and actually comes up from the sidewalk.
Any other questions for our Electric Utility Director? All right, David Gaskell, anything?
No, I don't have to.
All right, let's start with Finance Director Natalie Slay.
Good evening. We're working on finishing the general fund budget. Meeting with 2 more departments tomorrow to go over and do the revenue projections as well. Then going into the weeks, in this week, at the end of the week, we'll be meeting to discuss the general fund. Only on the next meeting, we will be presenting a mid-year financial house, per se, that's what we call, basically budgeted versus actual. And I believe we have, what else am I doing? That's all it's coming up.
I think that's the...
Yeah, we're open to the public, so customers can come in, pay the bill, ask all the questions as normal right now. There are more closed doors, and some bills went out, being estimated in the past due to the storm, so we're reconciling that. The next billing should be very accurate with the rates and everything. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions for our Finance Director?
I just have a comment. Natalie, I'd like to thank you and your department for the positive audit that was presented at our last meeting. and I know that compiling that information that is required is not an easy job, but the impression I got from the auditors was that you did a fantastic job. So on behalf of the citizens of the town of Berlin, and of course the council, I would like to thank you for your work.
Thank you. Teamwork. I have an amazing work family here. Everybody's dedicated and very meticulous. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for our finance director? All right, up next is Jamie Latcham, Water Resources.
Yeah, Tim mentioned it. We started drilling the test well over to well number 3 Branch Street. They drilled it Wednesday, and they were there most of the week doing some testing on it. The test well was drilled to 125 feet roughly, and now they'll design and develop the new well. We're hoping to be drilling within the 30 days. Right now, as in what Tim mentioned and everybody's mentioned, material is getting hard to get the screen, and due to it's a large diameter well, it is roughly an 18-inch casing with a 12-inch well. So they've done all their testing. They got to send it away to a design engineer for wells, and they're going to place the well roughly somewhere about 105 feet. And that's where we found the best soils, what they were telling me. So when they start drilling the big well, we will have to go knock on some doors and let people know that, because once they start drilling, it's going to work around the clock. I'm hoping 2 days they'll be done, but I'm not for sure because it's such a large casing they're going to be putting in the ground and moving noise. We're just going to have to knock on some doors and let people know that they will be out there. So,
Do we want to send them something now to let them know we're about 30 days out from that?
Either that, I can do that, or I can go knock on a couple people's doors that I think is going to be affected in that area, and just let them know. But I mean, that won't hurt. But
the personal,
I would just like to know that I'd like to get more of a true date, and that way I can say this is the date we're going to start.
That's okay.
So I'm hoping I would know a little bit more later this week. So maybe first of next week we could go out there and do some door knocking. I'm thinking about 4 or 5 residents, if that. But better to be a good neighbor than a bad neighbor, and at least let them know. So.
And the personal touch goes a long way.
Yeah, and when we do start doing that, I've never seen a large diameter well go in, so it's going to be a first for me. But we did meet out there with the county and MDE, and the guy from the state and the county said, usually most wells you should start looking at roughly around 40 years to replace. This one's 74 years old. It was drilled they did find a record of 1948 when it was drilled. So just to give you a heads up that the newest well in town is a 1960, and that's only been sleeved in 1962, I think it was sleeved. So that just gives you a little history that, we need to look at some of our wells in the near future too, because if you don't have water to produce to nobody, it's all aging, so we need to look at, make sure we have the water to produce, to give to the people.
And I think it was one of the municipalities locally recently had an issue with that also, being down a well and asking residents to conserve. So that's not really a place where we want to be.
And I probably don't show it, but I do worry about that here because, we have one large production well, and our small well is all we have. This is our mid well, but it could run by itself and produce all the water for the town 24 hours a day. So it does bother me because we're hoping to have it up and running and online by May 1st. That is my deadline. But there's unforeseen stuff that not being able to get the material. That's what's, I'm not the only department. I know Tim's running into it. Jimmy's running. We're not the only town that's running into it. So, I just want to say that. And also there's a lot of testing going on for PFAS, which is it's made from rubber. We have to take a class onto it because the EPA wants us to take samples. So some of us will be sitting in some classes next couple of weeks with EPA on taking this sampling. So we're very fortunate, we've been tested once and we came back clear, so they just want to stay on top of it and just make sure that our water quality is good. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for our Water Resources Director, Jamie Latchman? All right, up next is Public Works, Jimmy Charles.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I talked with, I've been in contact with Sean Johnson from Eastbound Disc, and he was going to be in the park this past weekend, going by the layout and the site plan that we designated, and he was going to be putting marks in. With the weather, obviously, I was not able to go through there today, but later this week I'll go through and just make sure that they're staying with the site plan and just monitor that as it proceeds.
This is the disc golf.
And I think they were hoping to put up the baskets within the next couple weekends. So we'll just monitor and see how they're doing.
So I have to have a little intramural sports game on Friday afternoon.
That's all I have.
Where exactly is that located?
It's through the whole park. It's mainly Stephen Decatur Park, right?
Now, Mayor, before you go any further, I want to publicly acknowledge Tim's crew, Jamie's crew, and Jimmy's crew. I can't even think, it seems like it was yesterday. I guess it was 2 weekends ago with our snow event. I will tell you that, and you were here, Mayor, and I want to acknowledge that the mayor.
Jeff kept me propped up at 2 a.m. in the office.
You fed me well, but everybody that worked Friday night, all through the night. Saturday, I want to acknowledge the State Highway Administration. Fantastic collaboration with the state. Everybody just, I didn't hear any complaints. I truly did not from any of the employees, I will tell you that. We fed them well, we worked them hard, we fed them well, and they got paid well. I'm going to call it like it is. There was no complaints, and I think that the end result, the icing on the cake, the final touch, and I'll call it like it is, we talked Saturday before we left about coming back in Sunday morning and removing snow from the Welcome Center down to Stevenson Church on Main Street. And so we had it worked out in our heads to give the employees like to have a little bit of a notice, as I call it. So we said 8 to 1. And then Sunday morning, I know when I crawled my bones out of bed and I saw the temperature where it said, I think 6. I said, this old man ain't going out in the 6-degree weather. So we called and shut it down. We did come down here and do a few things. But Monday, everybody was back in full force, and we closed down Town Hall, finished up cleaning parking lots. And when they were done by, what time did we finish?
1:30.
1:30. You never even knew it snowed on Main Street. It was incredible. So, to all of you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We had.
Well, most of the time, I'm going to speak up and say this, and I know Jimmy probably, people at home don't understand, but thank you for moving your cars off the street. You don't, I mean, we had a few, and I know there's a few that can't, but you will not believe how much, it was better with no cars being on the street.
2022 versus the last snowfall, I can tell you right now that my own 2 eyes, the number of vehicles that were on the street, it was noticeable from prior. So thank you to the public for that.
And also, Tim's crews were out monitoring the lines and everything like that. I mean, we didn't have any power outages during that period. And there for a little while, we didn't know whether, we were praying for a little bit of wind just to knock the snow off the lines. But and a huge thank you also to the fire company. They joined us for, we had a pre-meeting, what was it, Friday night at 8, and all the departments were represented. The fire company was here, their EMS units, their captain was here, and it went off very, very well, from coordinating plans for being able to plow ahead of an ambulance in the start of a snowstorm to getting hospital workers to AGH. I think it worked out very, very well. And Jamie pulling out snow plows left and right.
Well, I got stuck myself, so.
We'll talk about that.
We weren't going to bring that part up. We were going to let you be the hero.
It don't bother me none.
No, good job, though. Where did we leave off on departments?
Mary?
Mary, thank you. Deputy Town Administrator Mary Boland.
The only thing I have is just a quick reminder that most town offices will be closed on Monday for President's Day, and I believe that recycling for Monday will be picked up on Tuesday. I don't think there's any other changes, right? That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for our Deputy Town Administrator? All right, up next is Administrative Manager Kelsey Jensen.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I wanted to let you all know that we onboarded 2 new employees. We have a new part-time police communications officer and a full-time wastewater plant operator trainee. He started on Wednesday. So if you see some new faces, those are them. And then we had a pre-renewal meeting with Chris Carroll. Jeff and the mayor joined me on that, and we've set a tentative open enrollment date for March 17th through the 19th. So if you want to, or I'm sorry, May 17th through the 19th, if you want to jot those dates down, that is a tentative date. Other than that, had unfortunately a 1 vehicle accident, a couple work injuries, nothing major, but just keeping busy with that. And then I want to echo Jeff that I saw nothing but positive feedback with the snow and stuff, so everybody did a really great job, so thank you guys. So, that's all.
Thank you. And one thing I forgot to mention about the snow, and all of you will see it, hopefully, is a snow blower. We're going to buy it, and then we're never going to need it, but it'll be a nice preventative measure. But as Jeff mentioned, our crews do come in and shovel the Main Street district by hand and use the backhoe and stuff, but a snow blower would be very helpful, so you will see that in the budget for FY23. Any questions for Kelsey? All right, if not, we're going to move on to council comments, and Councilmember Burrell, you can start us off.
I just have a couple of questions concerning the roadways, really. Best Street, what is the projected date of having that work done?
Summer.
Summer? I was wondering, at the street, and I realized that what's down there now is eventually going to be paid. But you think maybe we could have the state repair some of those potholes and crevices that just causes your car to just bounce
You're
up and
talking
down?
about now?
Yes. Yes. And let's not forget that that is a main thoroughway for folks going to and from work, and of course to and from the schools. But that patch there is just not working. And we talked about Oceans East and Seahawk Road. The entrance of Oceans East, if you have a car coming from 50, stop, gonna turn into Oceans East, the space there is just not much at all. And if it's dark, and don't let it be, Lord, don't let it be raining, you don't know where you are. So if we could have that looked at, and possibly, I'm gonna say reworked, because I think it's just an accident waiting to happen. And lastly, if we're gonna have our packets on double-sided, you think maybe we could have holes and a notebook so that, and I don't mind, and I hope I'm not being picky, but it would just serve us better to have this in a notebook instead of clamped together.
Can we do single-sided, or do you think a notebook would be the best?
Well, I'm good with double-sided.
Okay.
But if we could just have the holes punched and stick it in a notebook.
Okay. Can we recycle a notebook?
Sure.
All right.
Over and over and over and over.
Yeah, that way we don't have to buy a whole bunch of
Yeah.
notebooks. So what we'll do is we'll get 3-ring, like the 1-inch 3-ring binders, and then what we'll ask is that you just leave them at the end and take your packet if you like, but that way we can reuse the binders.
Sure.
Is that okay?
That's fine. In the end, that's all I have.
Thank you. Up next, let's do Councilmember Orris.
Actually, I don't have anything tonight. I just want to say that it is good to see everybody in person. So I'm glad we're at a point where we can be together.
Thank you. Councilmember Nur?
I had a call from the owner of the Dollar General, and he was concerned about the damage being done to the property out front that I think he owns. And I informed him, of course, it's a state contractor doing the work, but he asked if the town would contact the contractor or the state on his behalf, just to make sure that it's cleaned up when all that work's
It will
done.
be.
Yeah.
It will be.
He was just a little unsure about what's taking place there, why they're doing all that.
We've not had any issue, I mean, where they were staging at, to the west of Decatur, when they moved off that, they cleaned that up very well, so,
Okay.
yeah, they will.
Okay,
Thanks.
that's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Nichols?
Go for it.
You need a minute?
God's laughing.
No, I don't. I have nothing to add.
She said when she says she has nothing, she didn't want us to laugh.
We started laughing before she even said it.
Sorry.
Everything's been said.
All right, so up next is agenda item number 9, comments from the mayor. I just wanted to let everyone know that I've asked Dave Engelhardt, the town administrator, and I have been working a little bit on the short-term rental stuff. We're going to bring that up hopefully on the 28th, so everybody can mark your calendars for that.
Will that be a public hearing, Mayor? or-
No, it's going to start off as an introduction.
Okay.
And then after that, will it need a public hearing, or can we just have one? It would be an ordinance, so,
You have to have a first reading.
and then we could always hear from the public before we action it, right? But it doesn't require a public.
Right, right. But in order to pass an ordinance, you have to have a public hearing.
So the first meeting on the 28th of February will be the introduction. The meeting on March 14th will hopefully be a public hearing and then action. I also wanted to let everybody know, I know that we sent out a press release, but I do want to thank the council and Councilmember Purnell also. He's not here with us this evening, but he did vote in favor of this. We sent a letter to the Worcester County Commissioners, and they will be considering this tomorrow for a parcel transfer on Flower Street for hopefully the start of bringing 4 parcels together for a community center. So I do want to say thank you for that consideration as well, and thank you to Commissioner Purnell for helping with that. Up next is comments from the public. Samantha, Taylor? Nothing? All right. Comments from the press? Charlene?
Good, thank you.
And then Councilmember Burrell, you're up.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I wanted to let everybody know you're here.
Thank you, thank you.